Good evening. I wonder if everybody's as cold as I am because it is freezing here. See, some people didn't have hey, remember, let me know as soon as somebody gets a chance if you can hear me. Good evening. Of course, it's coming through twice. And it looks like you can hear me, so. Technical difficulties.
Powering off. Powering off.
All right. Cool. I can see you guys. Hey, just an odd thing. Lisa, if you see that I asked you the other day about if that's normal, the snow, and the reason I've been asking around a little is there was somebody came on. I was listening and they were in January and they said that we would see snow, that they just knew it was a cleansing, it was an opportunity. It was a prophetic guy I listened to, but he talked about the snow that was coming and it was warm when he was saying it. And I remember he said quite a few things about it. That's why I asked several questions about snow from some of you guys. Hey, Steve, how's it going? Sandy, Debbie, here we go. So 7 o'clock, let's pray. Lord, we pray for our nation. Pray, oh God, that you continue to move. We know that something is going on. We know that you are involved in this and 100% at work in our nation. God, we ask that you save our republic. We thank you that you're going to. Thank you that our faith is increasing, that you're going to save the republic. Amen. So, because you guys know it's President's Day. Happy President's Day. It's President's Day, a day that we celebrate the legitimate past presidents. So, I guess you probably saw in Florida today that come up on my deal. In Florida, where where is it? West Palm Beach. It was only like 1 mile from Trump's where President Trump lives. And they had the vehicles, the flags to celebrate President's Day. They celebrated. I thought that was pretty neat today watching that. Pretty cool. So, yeah, Chris, that weather thing, that's really got my attention because this guy said you're going to see more than the average and these things were going to happen. I thought that was very interesting. As he was praying, he said it's what God was showing him. So, yeah. He said it would be kind of like that chance, the cleansing, and the chance for people to make things right. So that needed to make things right. So as we all know, the big news that we all love more than anything is the second impeachment. I did the second failed impeachment. Once again, we've heard it. I think in 2009 or 14, somewhere in there, Kim Clements, in his prophetic talking about Trump, said that he would be impeached twice. Impeach, but God says, nay, not going to happen. So we knew the outcome of that. That's pretty encouraging, really. If you think about it, guys, it's very encouraging. So we've seen another piece of the puzzle. We knew they'd impeach twice. It kind of took us by surprise, but it was, wow, here's another piece of this puzzle. And once they impeached or went after it and tried, we knew it would fail because of what we'd heard. That was amazing. So I did go back and listen to two presidents today, the prophecy. If you guys haven't heard that and you want to, ask one of us. Somebody on here has probably got it. Ask one of us. Myself, I'll send you that two presidents. If you've never heard Kim Clements, I'm sure all of you have. Very, very, very insightful. I just watched something else that guy did. If you go to his YouTube channel, he watched two presidents and something he did a week ago. Very deep. I'm going to go watch it after this again. Very intense. It's 36 minutes long. He's going to keep putting things out about it. Man, I've got to see it again. It doesn't have anything to do with the election or any of that. It's just about us. It's just very good. You guys go watch it. Geez. So something I wanted to share today that I saw, and it got me thinking about the Constitution and where we were. I even went back and looked some things up. Still in 2 Samuel, just keep going over this and over this. But There was a famine in the land. David was restored. Remember, they tried to take his presidency, excuse me, his kingship. Failed attempt. A lot of the same things, a lot of parallels there. But there was a drought in the land. David couldn't figure out why. Went to God and said, "Hey, I want to know what's going on. 3 years here, we've been having this drought, no rain. It's just terrible. Everything going on. What is happening?" David says, "Why?" God says, 400 years ago, there was a covenant that was made with the Gibeonites. If I'm saying that right, if I'm not, sorry, I don't know how to speak that into some of these words. So, 400 years ago, and Saul broke it by killing some of them. They had a covenant and he broke it. Now, if you guys I did this study on covenant one time. Well, a teacher did, and we went over it. It was very, very, very interesting. It's hard for us to understand the very word covenant and what it meant in the Bible days. It just, you did, man, you would go generate, I forget how many generations, I want to say 7, as many back as they could. They would, and even to come, 7 generations would die if we said, "Hey, we're going to make a covenant. We will not go to war and we are at peace. And if I end up going to war with you, you would wipe me out. You'd have to wipe out, don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure it's 7 generations." And everybody would, yeah, that's how it goes. You do not break a covenant. It just doesn't happen. That's how God sees covenant. So they had made a covenant with the Gibeonites. So David went to him and said, "Hey, what can we give you? I've got gold. I've got silver, all you want. I've got land. I've got anything you want. We just need our land to be healed. We want to get out of this curse that we've done on breaking this, that Saul broke this covenant." And rightfully so, the Gibeonites said, "We don't want gold. We don't want silver." It makes sense what they wanted. "We want 7 of Saul's descendants, and we're going to hang them." And David said, "You got it." So he went and got them all. And the 7, he rounded up daughters, sons, granddaughters, everything else, gave them to the Gibeonites. They hung them, killed them. I know it seems crazy, doesn't it? But God didn't say hang them. God just said, "You better go make it right." Maybe David should have tried to negotiate, but he just said, "Whatever you want." And that's what they wanted. That broke the curse. The Bible even says God basically listened to them, healed their land after that. Curse was broken. So I got to thinking about that covenant. Thought, are there covenants we've made as our country? What could I go back and look? I want to see some of your comments on this too. Uh, so I went as while I was going back. One of them I found was called the Mayflower Compact, 1620. Whenever the Mayflower got over here, obviously, I think it was 1620. They made a covenant with God. They said they called it the Mayflower Compact. You can go Google it, to the Library of Congress. They said, "Here's what we want to do." Instead of going through it all, basically in the very shortest form of it, it says it's the greatest commandment of all of them. Basically, if you love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind, all your strength, they said, this is how we want to live our lives. And we want God involved in everything we do. I look back at that and I said, "Okay, God, that's what I want to do from now on. If I've failed anywhere, I want forgiveness. I want to start over because I want to keep this covenant that has been going for since 1620, I believe it is. Let's keep this going. It's what's made America what it is. We have made lasting covenants, and you do not break covenants with God. All people, you don't want to break covenant. God understands covenant. Even some of the Native Americans, they understood covenant. They would make covenants. We showed up, said, "Hey, you get to stay on your land. We'll stay on ours. We'll leave you alone." Of course, the Indians cut their wrist or did what they did. And we're kind of like, "Hey, why don't we just drink some wine or something?" We don't really want to do that. But they said, "Whatever you want to do, this is what we do. Blood covenant. Here we are. We're going to make this covenant with you." We kind of said, "Yeah, whatever." Then we went in, and when we started, "Hey, we want you to scoot back now." They're like, "No, we made a covenant." But we didn't understand covenants. So some of these stories you hear where the Indians, they thought, "No, this is not how things work. Now you die, and so do your generations. You're going to die." And that's why they were so angry in a lot of cases. So very important to understand covenant. So I got to reading about another one, the one we know, all of us know more than any of them. The Constitution of the United States is a covenant. I think it was, I read 35 or 36% of the Constitution of the United States is wrote with God in mind, using biblical either verses or using references of God or to the Bible. That's what we built the whole Constitution upon. And that was a covenant. We said, God, we want you in this. I mean, in one part of the Constitution is the Lord is our judge. That's the judicial branch. The Lord is our lawgiver, legislative branch. The Lord is our king, the executive branch. I mean, we set this up. This is how we set it up. They said that they appealed to the supreme judge of the world. Federer said in this document, talking about the Constitution, we appealed to God. We invited him to be a part of this American experiment. We brought God into this. And what have we done for years now? We have been trying to do everything we can to take God out of it. There's judgment that comes upon you when you start taking God or going back on a covenant. There's a lot of bad things that can happen and judgment. And man, I've been praying, God, don't let us part of this judgment. We don't want part of this. We voted righteousness. We want to stay righteous. Lord, these people and ourselves that have even strayed and been comfortable, we want to return to you. Our eyes are open. We see the eyes of people in this country, their eyes opening. The Liberty Bell. What did they put on the Liberty Bell? Leviticus 25:10. Proclaim liberty throughout the land to all the inhabitants. You go to Washington, D.C., Bible verses are everywhere. They're doing everything they can to erase God from the Constitution and from this country. But judgment is coming. I don't mean to sound like the sky is falling, but something's coming. Something is going to happen. And I'm telling you to get under that cloud of faith, that realm of faith in God, and we better be looking the right direction. Because if you remember, if we all believe this Kim Clements and what he said, I believe the next thing we're going to see, and so far it's been 100% right. Everything that he's covered it. He said it before he died. And this was years ago. I think the next thing we're going to see, he talks about another Snowden will arise. It's going to be very embarrassing moments. And some of the things that are going to be told are going to be terrifying for people. They're going to be scared. We don't have to be scared. Man, I think we hold tight. I mean, we signed up, or we were born into, and we accepted, and we pledged allegiance in this country to our flag that stood for liberty and stood for these covenants that were made by the Constitution when we were all young. And now they're trying to take that away, and they have taken that away, much of it. But it's still in our hearts. That's that remnant that they're still here of us. We're still here, and we have to keep this alive, and we have to be talking to our grandkids. You have to be talking to your children. If your children aren't talking to you because they're left and they went the other way and they're not under this, you better be praying for them. I don't think putting the finger in their faces now, maybe you can tell them where you stand, but be praying for them. And I'm going to be praying for them. There's one of you, I won't mention who you are, but I'm praying for your son quite often, and you know who that is on here. Let's be praying for other citizens in this country. As mad as I get sometimes, because I've been called everything in the world, I am praying that what is up ahead, they repent, just like I am. But they turn towards God and realize, hey, I better get right, because the time's coming. We're not going to live forever, no matter what happens there. But I like the country that our founding fathers set up. The more I read about it, the more I respect the very country and what our founding fathers set up for us. I do not want Pelosi, Schumer, AOC, Lindsey Graham. I do not want the country that they're setting up for us. I can't stand what they're doing. And it is completely opposite of God. And yes, I mentioned Lindsey Graham, and I mentioned a lot more Republicans if I had time. I think they are self-seeking, and they disgust me because they're not servants. They are not in this to serve. Why do a lot of people think I don't want to go into, especially you see people with the servant heart, why don't they want to go into politics? Because it's a servanthood is gone. Why don't people want to go be preachers and pastors or anything anymore? Because the servanthood part of it is gone. If you have a servant's heart, you don't want to go into those things, but now's the time. I'm telling you, it's coming. Everything's changing. I just feel the faint rumblings of what is about to come. I really do. I think we are going to see very soon. I think we're going to start seeing some things coming that are going to be very intense. Have no idea what that means or anything about it, but I do know I hear these prophetic people I'm listening to, and Missy and I said, I was so many of these things I said on the 4th of November. One of the things that I think's coming, and I just now I'm hearing it, and I said it on the 4th or 5th of November, and I'm not trying to say, look at me. I'm just saying there's a lot of us in this group, and I think you've done the same thing. You guys have got words, and you listen to these guys now, and you realize, and all it is God's confirming to us, we've heard, we know. But I told Missy, there's going to be a shot that's going to be heard around the world. I think it was on the 4th, the day after. Said, all I keep hearing is this shot that's going to be heard around the world. And whatever this thing is, it's going to be big. And it's coming. So the country, and I've talked about it before, it's my favorite picture in the whole world. It used to be when I visited years ago. It was in the Library of Congress. Let me share this with you. This is the first prayer in Congress. Very first prayer. These guys, let me try to get this straight. And we've talked about this a month or so ago. Man, when they set up, they were all fighting First Continental Congress, and they decided this isn't going to work. 1774. So they were fighting over voting rights and how to vote and what to do. And remember, if you remember the story, they decided, hey, can we start praying? And Samuel Adams stood up and said, that's exactly what we're going to do. And then they kind of started fighting over that. And he said, shut your mouth. I got this handle. We're going to do this. Samuel Adams, incredible. I love if you get a chance to read a book about Samuel Adams, read the book about Samuel Adams. You guys will relate to his life. Many of you will. He went to, God, I forget which Ivy League college. Somebody will know, either Harvard, one of the big ones. Yeah, Harvard. I don't know. I forget which one. It wouldn't have been Harvard, but he went. And back then, most of the people that went to college were preachers. They came out ministers. Samuel Adams couldn't be a minister. I don't know that he wanted to be, but man, he went off and drank some rum, had his own little college party, and got in trouble. But he fought for liberty like no one else. The British hated his guts. So, because he stood up for liberty, you guys continue to do the same thing. Keep standing up. You're speaking, keep speaking. Do all you can to win people over. And sometimes that's not just getting in their face, you know. I mean, I would stay away from that. They're not even worth fighting with. Uh, I'd stay away from them. Like if you can't win them over, forget it. But if you can, do all you can to win them over. Because the day is coming, man, we're going to not even wish the worst, what could be the worst, on our worst enemy. And we're going to have to be united one way or another. So, anyways, Harvard. Thank you, Lisa. I know we talked about that before. It was Harvard. Man, I appreciate you guys once again. We're going to keep going on these. We're going to mix the two up. Somebody wants to do something, talk about Samuel Adams, or somebody else you see a distinction between liberty or something. You got about 8-10 minutes, 5 minutes, 2 minutes. You just say, hey, I want 2 minutes. I need to get a word for the group. And you have a computer and I can send you a link. You want to get on there? Come share with us. Once again, can't hurt our feelings. Even if you've got some crazy idea that we all come from aliens and we're half reptiles now or whatever it be, because I've heard some crazy stuff before. You're not going to hurt our feelings. We're all big boys and girls. We can decide for ourselves. But this group is set up for you guys too. And I want to hear from you guys because I know God's talking to you. I know he's talking to you. So open up, even if it's 2 minutes, bam, I can turn you on this and back off. Guys, keep praying. We're about to see something. When we do, please text me or whatever because I don't get news. I want to know what's going on because that shot around the world's coming. as usual, love you guys. You got a prayer request, something going on? Message me, man. I'll pray for you, and we'll get through it.